All right, good morning, traders. It's April 9th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there, podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for subscribing, following, and liking my content. Thank you to all the people that share my content: Rick Sadler, Ed Carter, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, John Jordan, Bob Jordan. Appreciate that. Helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. Or actually, let's take a look at the markets, what happened yesterday. And then we'll take a look at them for this morning, see what we can come up with. My SPY pivot this morning, 674.45 above it, bullish, below it, bearish. All of the Fab 5 made higher highs and higher lows, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. SPY closed 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute uptrend. Gold, higher high, higher low, closing over bullish trap and over the 17. Silver, same thing. USO, lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap, but over the rising 17. UNG never fails to disappoint. Made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 US dollar index. Still in a daily uptrend. Closed near the 99.04 area. SPY max pain, unless they change it on me, is 671 with a put to call ratio of about 1.7 puts to each call that expires today at 4:15. We do have some volatility scheduled for this morning. We got GDP coming out at, I think it's 8:30. All right, so I don't know where I'll be in the middle of my video, but 8:30. Expecting a little bit of volatility there. All right, so if this is your first time seeing this, these are all in daily uptrends over here. Over the 17 EMA. These are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they have a star next to it over here, they're building out, I call it a launch pad, or it's a bull flag from which to launch higher. Looks like ACH already launched higher. SOFI over here, if they're all of these, if they have a little star next to it on this side, they're building out a bear flag. I call it a platform from which to dive lower. So over the 17 EMA on the daily chart, under the 17 EMA on the daily chart. Let's take a peek at the markets. Start off with the SPY. Look at the 10-minute chart. And let's see what we can come up with here. All right, so we've got really kind of bullish consolidation right through here. Nothing special really going on. Late in the day, you can see they put in a weak 2-candle uptrend at the very end of the day. 2-hour chart, QQQ is going to look the same way. 2-hour chart, obviously you can see the sticks and the 3 EMA riding up over the 8. A lot of distance, whole lot of daylight there. So 2-hour uptrend coming into the close on the daily candle. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over flat 17 EMA. And let's look at it with the quad lines on there. Let's take this. We'll leave it on there. Okay, so price is in the middle of quadrant 4. I'm going to back way out. This is the origin of our rally back here in April. Come up. We're still in the middle of quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. All right, still bullish. We have not made a higher high yet, so we're still in the downtrend. So there's SPY on the daily chart, bullish, but still in a downtrend. The nice thing is, if you're a bull, this is a failing downtrend because we're obviously not moving down. We've either been melting either over to the right or up. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Now, I mentioned a few days ago that if we could get price to consolidate on top of there, we could, for about 2 or 3 days, we could see a challenge of prior highs, maybe even the all-time high. We'll see what happens. This is SPY on the daily chart. Again, bullish, but still in a dysfunctional downtrend right there. Weekly chart, Same thing, all right? Dysfunctional downtrend, all right? And bullish because we're in the upper third. So same thing going there on the weekly. Monthly chart still bullish and in an uptrend. We have not made any lower lows on the monthly chart. So you can see all the green dots. So we're bullish and in an uptrend on the monthly chart. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ is going to look much like SPY. A very weak 2-candle, 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. All in all, bullish consolidation holding the highs up there all day yesterday. Same with SPY. 2-hour candle, 2-hour chart, sorry. All right, you got the sticks and the 3 riding up over the rising 8 EMA. You got daylight between the 3 and the 8, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Daily candle, just like SPY. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, and over the excuse me, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're in the middle of quadrant 4. I'm going to pan away out again. Okay, the origin of our rally back here, April. So we're in the middle of quadrant 4. We are still bullish. We are in a dysfunctional downtrend, just like SPY. Going to say right now, QQQ close to, they take out that high right there, close to taking out, converting the downtrend into an uptrend if they breach that high right there. So QQQ, dysfunctional downtrend, but bullish up here on the daily chart. Weekly is going to look much like the same. Okay, weekly is you can see the origin, April, quadrant 4. We're bullish. No higher highs yet. All right, we've made lower lows. So you've got a low here. We made a lower low. So we're still in that downtrend. The good news is it's a dysfunctional downtrend in that price, all right, and performance is not moving down. It's actually melting up or over to the right. So there's QQQ. Weekly, monthly chart, same thing. All right, still bullish. Not same thing, but same as SPY. Again, see all the green dots. We're bullish. We have not made lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend up here at the top of quadrant, well, in the middle of quadrant 4 right there on the QQQ. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. We'll look at Diamond Dow on the daily chart. Again, the origin of the rally, same thing, back here in April. All started with technology. All robust rallies start with technology, pretty much, most all the time. Diamond Dow, daily candle, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're in the bottom of quadrant 4. That makes us bullish. We are in a downtrend because we have not made any higher highs, and we've done nothing but make lower lows about 2 weeks ago. So until we make a higher high, and that would be the high to beat right there, okay, 498.59, that would be the high to beat. We're still in a downtrend, and again, if you're a bull, the good news is this is a dysfunctional downtrend at this point in time, all right? They're no longer moving down. They're actually either melting up or moving over to the right. I'll bet the same thing is going to could be said about IWM and Stinker FNGU. Okay, IWM, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the hooking 17 EMA. In the middle of quadrant 4, that's going to be bullish. We're over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That would be this pink line right here. This is a daily chart. I'm going to pan way out. Again, the origin of our rally starting back here in April. Up here to the middle of quadrant 4, we're bullish until we make some higher highs. No, actually IWM is bullish and in an uptrend because that day before we ripped, we made a higher high right here. So IWM bullish and in an uptrend in the middle of quadrant 4 on the daily chart. So nice work for IWM. All right, let's take a look at Stinker. All right, on Stinker, let me just move this up just a little bit, okay? All right, so this is the all-time low. This is the all-time high. This is the all-time high anchored VWAP. This is yesterday's performance, this red candle here. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17. Okay, we're under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're under the 50-yard line, mid-court, half-court, right there on FNGU. So we're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third. So upper third would be bullish. Lower third would be bearish. We're neutral, and we're still in a downtrend until we produce a higher high. So if we take out, see that red, see those double red candles right there? Actually, if we just get over the midpoint right here, we will have ourselves an uptrend. Currently in a downtrend. Recently, in the last week, it's a dysfunctional downtrend in that we're not moving down anymore. We're actually melting up or moving over to the right. So there's FNGU or stinker on the daily chart. Okay, so still neutral. All right, no longer bearish. When we were in the lower third down here, we were bearish. We're neutral and still in a downtrend. It's a dysfunctional downtrend at this time. We'll see. So there's stinker on the daily chart. Let's take a look at, we'll look at precious metals and oil and gas. Okay, let's start off with silver. Silver and gold, I think, did about the same thing today. They're just in different spots. One's in quadrant 3, the other's in quadrant 4. So silver got a higher low and a higher high. They closed over a bullish trap. They closed over the flat 17 or the falling 17, closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. They're in the middle of, well, they're in the bottom of quadrant 3. All right, so they're not in the upper third. All right, like stinker. They're not in the lower third, so they're neutral. All right, they're closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. So they're neutral. And they've made, they're now in an uptrend. See that high? They made a valley low down here, and now they made a higher high. So silver, neutral, uptrend. That's what happened yesterday. All right? The only thing I don't like is this red candle. If I was going to be a bull, all right, they've done nothing but sell off after making the new high. So gold's going to look very similar, but in quadrant 4. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, just like silver. We're in the bottom of quadrant 4, like silver's in the bottom of quadrant 3. Bottom of quadrant 4 for gold, so they're bullish, still bullish, all right? And maybe in an uptrend. Let's find out in a second here. So the high there is 440.44. The high there is 440.19. So just like silver, gold has converted the downtrend into an uptrend, all right, by making a higher high right here. So gold and silver both in uptrends. Gold bullish, silver neutral, both underneath their all-time high anchored VWAPs. Nice move for both of them, converting the downtrends back into uptrends. Now, here's the point. Now that they've got uptrends, they need not let up, all right? A lot of times we've seen this before where the securities or ETNs or ETFs make a new, convert the downtrend into an uptrend by making a higher high. But right after they make the higher high, they kind of melt off and just either melt over to the right or melt down. So we'll have to watch this to see if we can get some sort of follow through. And I'm not seeing anything yet on those uptrends that both converted right there. Let's take a look at USO. USO trying to stage a comeback here. USO got a lower high and a lower low. We closed under a bullish trap. We still closed over the rising 17. We were under it for a little bit. We're still in the bottom of quadrant 4. All right, so we're still bullish. We have not made any lower lows, so we're still in an uptrend on USO. So bullish and in an uptrend for USO. That right there is a 10-year high. And the origin of this rally starts in 2022, I think. All right, I'm going to pan way back. 2023 for this one. All right, so here's the origin of our rally that produced a new 10-year high up there. So there's a USO on the daily chart. Bullish, still in an uptrend right there on USO. Let's get UNG. UNG never fails to disappoint here. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, closing under the falling 17, closing under the falling 1-year 12-month high anchored VWAP. Again, in the middle of quadrant 1, that is the all-time low. That's only a 12-month high, nowhere near an all-time high. UNG is bearish, and they're still in a downtrend. You can see a series of highs, and then you got lower highs and lower lows. So obviously in a downtrend right there for UNG. All right, let's take a look at technicals back here. I will visit the game plan. Let's move over just a little bit right here. T2101. Okay, the market rallied up. We got increase in breadth or participation. That's a bullish clue right there. I like that. I'd like to see a continuation of that. A little bit more of that today would be highly welcomed. Nice gaps going through here, showing us more and more increased participation. Bullish clue. I like that, of course. And we got bullish price action to go with it. I like it. T2101. T2122, we spent the whole day in the overbought zone. Nothing says bullish more than that, all right? Spending the whole day up there in the overbought zone. Again, another bullish clue. So we got him on T2101, T2122. Let's check out T2123. And what do we got there? What's behind curtain number 5? All right, bullish gap up, never filled by the bears. All right, obviously, big bullish clue there. You got some highs. We obviously made higher highs. That was the low. They would have had to beat this low. It wasn't happening. All right, so T2123, 15-minute uptrend, no longer under a falling 200 SMA. Beautiful move on the T2123. Okay, so they're making a higher high, so they're in an uptrend, but I have to look at where they are as compared to where they came from. All right, now they came from the all-time high. Slap some quad lines in there, see what it looks like. Okay, we're still in quadrant 1. All right, from the all-time highs. That makes us bearish. All right, but we're in an uptrend. All right, so we're in that uptrend on the 15-minute chart, bearish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. Same product. I'm going to pan way out so you can see the origin of our rally, which starts as normal back in April. Okay, so there's the 2024 high, all-time high. Then we go off and have a nice pullback to the April. And from April, we have a beautiful rally up here to quadrant 4. You can see price action moves up, makes a new all-time high for 2025. Pull back, making a higher low, ripping back up, making a new all-time high again. So we got one in 2024, one in 2025, and we got another one in 2026. New all-time high on T2123 3-bar chart. We're currently under a rising 200 SMA. Not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. I'm kind of bullish based on the move we had right there. We could lose it all today. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, being since Iran seems to have backed out of negotiations and a peace offering and a peace treaty. All right, so not wanting to participate in a ceasefire. So we could find ourselves all the way back down there and bearish again. I had hopes we would finally find peace over there after 4,000 to 6,000 years. All right, what was I thinking? All right, so here's T2123. You're in the quadrant 4, the bottom of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish. All right, and still in a downtrend until we make higher highs. The first high to beat for T2123 is the all-time high way up there. Okay, so they made a series of lower lows that placed them in a downtrend. Let's go to take a look at Stinker on the 15, bullish gap up. Bears nowhere to be found yesterday. That would be higher highs, so that's a uptrend. Nice news is we're on the other side of the falling 200 SMA. We are challenging the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's more good news. If we pan way out, all right, and we slap the quad lines in here, up there to as high as we can get, we're no longer bearish. So we're neutral and in an uptrend only on the 15-minute chart. Neutral and in an uptrend. All right, I think the daily's also neutral, but not in an uptrend, not on the daily chart. But on the 15-minute, we are in an uptrend. You can see we made a series of, well, there's a high, there's a high, there's a low, there's a higher low there. And then you can see from this high, we make a higher high, producing an uptrend for FNGU. All right, let's take a look at game plans this morning and see what we can come up with. Actually, I'm going to delay that one more time. I'm going to go ahead and do the economic package, and we'll come back and look at the game plans, and we'll put the pre-market on there and see what we can read out of current price action. Remember, in 7 minutes, you're going to get some volatility from a GDP announcement. All right, so maybe it's probably, I could come up with some answers, but until the GDP excitement calms down and the dust settles, whatever I come up with might be different. The conditions might be totally different than whatever I come up with. So we'll have to play it by ear. I'll come up with the best thing that I can think of. Right now, we're bullish up there. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's FNGU on the 15. So we'll take a look at the economic package, and then we'll visit the game plans. Again, remember, there'll be a lot of excitement coming out of GDP. There is going to be expected volatility, so we'll see what happens with that. All right, so let's take a look at the economic package, and that'd be right here. Max Payne for today. I'm going to refresh this. I got to get a sip of water. Okay, Max Payne still 671. Put to call ratio still 1.7 puts for each call, and that's in regards to only the options that expired today. So that's 1.7, so well over 1 put for each call that expires today. Earnings calendar. Okay, there's going to be nothing but familiar names. WD-40, we've heard of them. Okay, BlackBerry, we've heard of them. Nothing but familiar names, but because we trade the indices, nothing here is going to be market moving. All right? They just don't have enough market cap to really influence the market. All right? Friday, same thing. Familiar names, nothing here. Unity Bancorp, familiar names, all right. Children's Place, nothing here that's going to push the markets around or influence the markets at this time. Okay, so as far as earnings go, let's take a look at the economic calendar. Now, yesterday, FOMC minutes came out. I didn't even hear a word about it. I think the idea that peace was coming overshadowed anything the FOMC said. So I don't even know what they said. This morning we got GDP. It's a delayed report coming out at 8:30. Jobless claims 8:30. Personal income and outlays also 8:30. Corporate profits 8:30. And natural gas inventories and status, that comes out at 10:30. Tomorrow we're going to get CPI, again more volatility at 8:30 in the morning. GDP is going to be a delayed report this morning. CPI is going to be a non-delayed report. It's going to be fresh data coming out at 8:30 on Friday. We've got consumer sentiment at 10. Factory orders, another delayed report at 10. So we got a delayed GDP, but fresh CPI coming out tomorrow. I don't know that either one of these is going to affect the market. CPI will be interesting, but with the high oil, high energy costs, I don't know how they're going to read that, other than possible. I mean, for me, if I was Mr. Powell, I would read that as that's a catalyst for higher inflation in the future, because if those higher energy, prices wind up camping out and start building a structure, in my backyard, eventually all the CEOs are going to have to reprice their products and services to accommodate for higher expenses, because they don't want to give up those profit margins, all right, which will then create yet again another wave of inflation, meaning more profits. In other words, they'll be taking in more revenue because all of their goods and services will now be selling at a higher price point, and that will, at that point, will create another wave, or the potential for the market to read that as more revenue coming in on the top line. And if management's got their crap together, that should, a lot of those profits should transcend down to the bottom line, therefore giving more earnings per share. And we all know what happens when you get more earnings per share. Your stock price most of the time usually increases, creating yet another new all-time high, possibly coming in the future for the market. I don't think it's going to happen this month. It might, but I suspect, maybe the end of the year. I think it takes CEOs a while to figure this out. I'm sure they already know. If their wives are shopping for groceries, they got to fill up the car with gas. They're going to see those higher expenses, as well as in their companies, as well as in their home economies. It's going to come. It just takes time for them to see if these energy prices are going to be here to stay, or they're just temporary and then we're going back down. And that usually takes about 8-9 months. And that's about how much time we got left. So again, we could see new all-time highs again near the end of the year. There's that possibility. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's take a look. What do we got? 1 minute, and then GDP is going to come out. And let's take a look at what the market does with that. Let's move over to this one. Okay, and that's UNG. Big dipper right there today on UNG. It's our game plan. Well, that's what it looks like right now. Okay. Again, we got news coming out, so everything could get disrupted. All right, so far for the game plan, price green erases red over 676.50. That is a green erases red entry. The pivot is 674.45. Above it, bullish. Below it, bearish. Red erases green underneath 672.40. So below that, that's bearish. If we look at everything that happened, you've got consolidation into the close on SPY from last night, and right now we have consolidation under consolidation. So that's kind of a bearish environment. Now GDP's coming out, and we still have to recognize that we are up and still in a bull flag here. All right, so anything goes. We could find ourselves back at the top getting ready to break out, or we could find ourselves down here near the red ready to break down. We'll see. GDPs should be out about now. Let's see what we got. Nothing yet, but there's SPY on the game plan. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. I'll be looking for a breakout today, okay? As you can see, with the 10-minute candles, they didn't go far, all right? Look at yesterday. They didn't go far from VWAP, all right? Most everything just hung around right there. Now, yesterday, we said the plan, thank you, Alan. Thank you, appreciate that. You said yesterday we were looking for the bulls to start the bottom of a bull flag that we suspect might begin, all right, since we gapped all the way up here over the all-time high anchored VWAP. And, of course, I can go visit the all-time high anchored VWAP, all right. Okay, so there is the pink line right there. It is really at 673. It's just plots here on the 10-minute chart. And if you look at it on the 4-hour, you can see that it plots north of where it does there. See 673.45. So you notice the big difference from 670 plotting up here at 673.45. Okay, let's go back to the 15-minute, actually 10-minute chart, and we hit the game plan again. Okay, so that's what we had planned. So we got the bottom, and then we traded it up to the top. So what we traded yesterday, okay, we traded a call spread in that we bought calls long, sold calls short. When we got down to the bottom here, we covered on the calls that were sold short, put that money into the long position, and rode it up to the top and sold those contracts that we had long back up here to capture profit both down and up. There wouldn't be, we suspected there wouldn't be a decent uptrend or downtrend to be had. So for me, I thought we would just probably be range bound, and you can see we pretty much were. But I wanted to ride it from up all the way, actually from up to down and then back up again. And I didn't know we were going to come all the way back down one more time, but we did. Again, you can see the wave. Okay, up, down. Look for that W pattern. So we need another, well, we got the W pattern right here. If we don't get over the midpoint or the pivot, we could roll over and come all the way back down here and fill the gap that was made from yesterday. We'll see what happens. Here's the W program. Okay, come down, up, down, up. All right, so there's your W. Notice we did not break out at the apex of the W, and we find ourselves all the way, see the red line, all the way back down here, and we're consolidating under prior consolidation. So there's that possibility that we melt off and we find ourselves doing the gap fill dance all the way down here at the end of the day for SPY. I like Friday options, so that's going to be 1 DTE and 8 DTE. I like them on the multiple of 5. They got more open interest there. I like a lot of open interest. That's kind of like my first thing I look at, even more than Delta, strange as it is. I'm looking for open interest because I want a tight bid-ask spread. I don't want a lot of slippage when I'm ready to get stopped out or when I want to leave or exit, all right, or enter a position or exit a position. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Probably none of this will take place today unless, of course, we break out of the top or the bottom. I'm picturing probably some more consolidation being since the market seems relatively subdued on the news that just came out. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Alan. All right, GDP was negative 0.5. The forecast was positive 7. Previous was 4.4. So I'm going to tell you, GDP sucked again. Core PCE month over month, 0.04. I don't know how to read that. Month over month. The forecast was 0.04. They got 0.04. 0.03 was the previous. So I'm going to say that that was good if that was personal income and outlays. I'm not sure. If that was incomes, that was good because it was greater than last month. If it was outlays, that would mean expenses. That would not be good. They forecast 0.04. We got 0.04. Spending. I'm going to push this up so you can see it with me. Okay. Personal spending went down, which that's a good thing. If personal spending goes down month over month, that helps make the point that inflation is no longer a problem. But again, I don't know how to read these. So if that's the case, that would be good. Again, the forecast was positive 0.6 and we got negative 0.5. All right, so that would be nice if that's what that means, is less spending from personal bank accounts. PCE price index year over year, still 2.8, expected 2.8, previous was 2.8. GDP price index quarter over quarter. You can see we were looking for positive 3.8, all right, positive. We got a negative 3.7. Okay, big time. I mean, if the market doesn't fall on this, that's a sign of strength. All right, so we'll see. Continuing jobless claims, we got 1749. We were expecting 1840, so less jobless claims. So that would be good. The spending is good if that went down, if that's what it means, what I think it means. GDP really sucked. I mean, nothing but a doo-doo, all right? That's all I can say for GDP. Same as last month. So what is the market doing? We're still above VWAP, so we're still bullish up here in this channel, all right? Unless, of course, we come down here and start breaking that low. So we'll see what happens. So, again, I think just more waffling around. I think today is going to be a day for me to just wait for the breakout. I got to tell you, I think I'd look for a trade up there to gap fill, and that would be my only trade. And then from there, I would sit on my hands and wait for a breakout. Either the green erases red or the red erases green. That would be my plan for the day. Is try to trade a 5-minute uptrend to do the gap fill. After that, I take my profit, maybe hold a contract or two to continue if it wants to, and other than that, I would be just waiting for the breakout. That's all I see for today, being since we're range bound and we had such a big move the day before. All right, I'll take a look at QQQ. We'll visit that. Again, it's the same options. Friday options on the multiple of 5 specifically for the open interest. I like the strikes at the money. You can see you're paying for, look at the 10-day ATR. All right, on the QQQ and SPY, you're getting $12 and $11 on the 10-day ATR. So you've got options that are priced for $12 and $10 moves, all right? And you're only getting $3 and $4 moves, okay? So again, I would want penny for penny performance if that's all I'm going to get sometimes. So for that reason, I'm choosing at the money strikes at this time. In a nice bullish environment, I would probably choose out of the money. All right, but right now, because with such high volatility, with such high implied volatility priced into the premium of the options, all right, I would trade closer to at the money. Green erases red over 609.40. All right, that's just me. Green erases red over 609.40, pivot 605.50. Red erases green under 602.10. All right. Markets seem like it's still, I don't know, hypnotized. All right. Doesn't seem to know what to do. There was really no movement at all from all of those numbers that came out. All right, that's it. I will see you all in about 30 minutes, and we'll open up the markets and trade the open together. Again, my plan for both QQQ and SPY is to trade for the gap fill. QQQ is almost right there. I mean, all they got to do is just extend their arm away from the chair and hit the monitor, and then they've done the whole gap fill thing. Let's see what SPY is doing. I would say they're going to run up there and probably tag the gap fill. What happens from there, I'm just waiting for a breakout after that. See you guys in 30 minutes. Thank you.